Hey, Furry and Finley here. A little education on hats. Because I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of the whole milady bullshit. Especially when someone takes my hat off my head, puts it on their own, and does a milady. It's like, dude, I do not want my hat on your filthy, lice-ridden head. Do not touch my hat. And sometimes it takes quite a bit of styling to get the hat to sit right to begin with. And I mean styling my hair, not the hat. And sometimes I do actually have to get the hat just on the right angle to sit nice and do its job, which is keeping the sun out of my eyes. So, rule number 1 of hats: if it's not yours, ask first. Rule of hats number 2, which is the same rule as every other fashion: get your terminology right. Because this is not a fedora. This is a trilby. I don't wear fedoras. I don't own fedoras. The only fedora I have ever owned or worn has been a rabbit or kangaroo felt, a kubra. And they're really iconic for Australia. And they fit well, they keep the sun off, they keep the rain off, they're a good work hat. This is just a good old El Target woolen felt. Now you can see that it is very short here in the front. That is a classic trilby. You'll also notice that this brim is very short, and trilbies get even shorter than that. They are sometimes only an inch long. So this is well and truly at the cutoff before being a fedora with its length. To be a fedora, it would have to be a little bit longer. So that's 2 inches. A fedora is 2.5 inches. Yeah, the length doesn't stipulate. The other thing, as I mentioned, a fedora is straight on top. This one's tapered. Taper, taper. A fedora doesn't have a taper in it. And it also doesn't have a turned up brim. So a lot of trilbies you come across are actually turned up at the back and give this lovely shape you see here. So a little bit of this is educating you on the difference between a trilby and a fedora, and the other part of this is a rant of I hate the whole lady bullshit. It's unnecessary, it's dramatized, it's over dramatic, it is just plain and simply not called for, and if you're not doing it with your own hat, you're being a rude, pretentious prick. Especially if you don't ask before taking someone else's hat. Alright, hats are expensive. Hats are easily damaged. Thankfully, this one, being as robust as it is of not being made of rather expensive materials, it can actually survive being stepped on and crushed and all sorts, whereas a lot of other ones, they're not so kind when it comes to damage. So yeah, I wear trilbies, not fedoras. Don't do the whole milady thing. It is overused to the point where people are getting frustrated with it. And that frustrating is overlapping into violence, and don't be a douche. And don't do it to me. I really don't like it. I've had it done to me that often. Like, it's one thing to do it when you first are introduced to someone or you first run into them for the day and you do the, my lady, very polite. It's polite to tip your hat, alright? It really is. Even I tip my hat. And that's not etiquette for a lady. But what isn't etiquette is over-dramatically using the word my lady. What's not etiquette is taking someone else's hat to do it, especially without permission. A perfect example of doing it without a hat is, my lady, you just touch your fringe. And it simulates the same sort of etiquette. So, my lady, it's the same as the whole hat tipping, but without the hat, and it's modernized and it's perfectly acceptable. Taking someone else's hat off the head to do it for them, well, to them, especially if it's the lady you're trying to do it to, you're gonna get punched in the face. It is stupid and disrespectful. And I have had this happen to me so often, of someone just take my hat off my head, put it on their filthy head. Alright? This is a hygiene issue. Do not take my hat and put it on your head without my permission. Because the only people I let wear my hats when I'm in a situation that I can have some degree of control are people that I am close to, that I know have clean hair, that are bug free. I'll sometimes be in a situation that I can't have some form of control with my hats, and I'll end up at a nightclub or something like that. It'll end up pass through the entire club, and it'll eventually get back to me, and the next day I got my hat soaking in nappy sand. It's a bit of fun, it's what I expect for the situation. So there's that bit of give and take, that if I'm in a really crowded, busy place that's all joyous and happy and my hat ends up floating around, well, I can't do much about that. I can't hate on people for doing that. People will be people, and I make allowances for that when I'm in that kind of situation. But if it's just 3 or 4 people, I run into you at the train station or in the middle of the mall or something like that, just do not take my hat. Like, seriously, I'm South Scot Welsh in descent. Like, I glow when I go in the sun. And you're taking my hat. You have no respect for my skin or my health by taking my hat in the middle of the day. Outside. That's another no-no, and that's the other reason why I wear hats. I am white. They glow white. Like, I am that white. I match my beige walls that are very pale iced. Like, this is iced lemon, this couch cover. And I blend in with it some days. I am that white that I need a hat every time I go outside, as well as super strong sunscreen. You take my hat, you take my defense. Slip, slop, slap, and wrap, man. Come on. Slip on sunscreen. Slip on a shirt. Slap on sunscreen. Slap on a hat. Wrap on some sunnies. Come on. Be sun smart. Especially those of you who are as white as I am. Be sun smart. That's why I look a lot younger than I actually am. I stay out of the sun. But I get exposed to enough sun to get my vitamin D. That's the difference. So, it's been raining outside. I don't like water in my eyes or on my face. I'm gonna go outside. And thankfully I'm in a small country rural town at the moment where the whole milady bullshit just doesn't happen. And by the way, those that do the milady bullshit, that's exactly how you sound to people that you do it to. Milady. It's really gross. It really is. Just please don't bring it into next year, into 2007. It really doesn't belong in any era, that level of milady. Like, dude, come on. Nah, it doesn't belong in modern times. And don't touch my hat.